Croce and I went to Bosco to see our new friends Ari and Jo, who've been traveling as nomads, but they're putting down roots and buying a home in Carini, Sicily. If you don't speak Italian, their method will help you get a leg up when dealing with realtors. Let's dive in.
Yeah, we are looking to buy a place locally, and yeah, we've been working with agents for that. First of all, walked into the office without an appointment. The guy yelled at me eventually. For a West Australian to praise the beaches anywhere in the world is
high praise.
It takes a lot.
Yeah. We've just experienced the most incredible hospitality from friends and strangers. But even just driving along the coast here, I mean, every corner has this incredible ocean view and these dramatic mountains, and it just takes our breath away.
A difficult experience, but we got there in the end. They were patient enough with me, despite getting yelled at a couple of times.
The great thing is that it's not just the people working there. What we found at every stage, because we are the epitome of bumbling foreigners. And we've always just had a really soft spot for Italy. I think Italy just spoke to our heart.
Ari and Jo, please tell us where you were born and raised and a little bit about your background.
Sure, I'm from Sacramento, California. And then at 26, I moved to Australia after I met this lovely lady.
I was born in Singapore, but moved to Australia when I was young. My dad grew up there. And I spent my years in Australia, and when I took a gap year from university or college, I met Ari in Belize and somehow managed to convince him to move to Australia, where we've mostly lived since, but we've had a pretty nomadic life since about 2017. So we've been traveling on and off. We're based in Australia during COVID, but left in 2022.
Excellent. So that's the accent I detect?
Yes, very mild accent, yes.
Okay, very mild?
Yes.
For you it is, but for other people maybe not so much, no.
She's had to tone it back so that other people can understand her, mostly me.
We actually couldn't understand each other when we first met. We would have miscommunication.
So tell us, guys, why are you interested in Italy and Sicily specifically?
We'd been kind of nomadic since like about 2022 when we left Australia last. So we'd been traveling all around the world, and just after a while it gets a little bit tiring being in a new place all the time. We would stay for multiple months at a time, but even then we thought we probably need to set up a base somewhere and buy a place that's ours that we can go back to.
Awesome. So kind of like travel fatigue somewhat.
Yeah,
a little bit.
A place for our stuff. It's just nice to just have your things out. Exactly. And left there.
Yes.
And we've always just had a really soft spot for Italy. I think Italy just spoke to our heart. It doesn't make any sense, but that's kind of what Italy is like. But we've always just had amazing experiences in Italy. This is our 7th time back, and maybe your 6th time back.
Wow.
We visited all different parts. We've just experienced the most incredible hospitality from friends and strangers. And we love the food, we love the wine, we love
the weather,
the nature.
Is incredible.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So you don't have any family ties here, no Italian heritage.
It makes no rational sense. Absolutely no rational sense on paper.
I love that. So Italy is just touching your heart. You've experienced it. You love it. You feel a connection. You feel like this is home.
Yeah. So
somewhat.
Yeah. So it's March now, and last November when we decided that we did want a more serious base, we immediately thought of Italy, but we didn't know where. So we hired a car for a month and we drove around the south of Italy because, again, the weather is a big thing for us coming from Australia and California. Can't do the snow.
No.
So southern Italy was going to be
I'm with
spot.
you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Texas, very similar. So we drove around, Abruzzo, Puglia, Calabria, Molise, and Sicily. And when we got to Sicily, we had spent a month in Sicily a few years earlier in Catania. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we had really fond memories of the food and just the beautiful cities and nature. And when we got to Sicily, it felt like we just come home.
What area do you think you're going to settle in?
We're looking at Carini right now.
Yay! I'm so excited. Now, you mentioned Spanish. Do you speak Italian at all?
Not really. We are
piano a piano.
Piano,
as they say.
Learning bit by bit. We're trying to, do the apps, do this like voice lessons in the car that we're listening to when we take a long drive to like practice our Italian.
Excellent.
So we're building up to it, but a long way away from fluency right now.
We're trying to practice with everybody we meet. We try and speak in Italian, very broken Italian.
That's half the battle, practicing, having the courage to speak. I will testify that when you walked into this cafe, this bar, you greeted the people in Italian, you told what your order was in Italian, you asked the lady for an extra spoon in Italian, so I think you're doing great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our dream would be to be fluent, to just be able to just reel off in
Isn't
very
that
fast Italian with the locals here, and also get the hand gestures in. We're just not quite ready yet. When we
What's the matter, you?
Yeah, exactly. When we can talk without our words, that's when we know we've made it.
Yes, exactly. That's wonderful. Okay, Ari, so currently are you working with a realtor to relocate and get a place here in Carini, Sicily?
Yeah, so we've been here for about a week this time, but before that we'd searched some of the property sites online, Idealista, and there's Facebook groups for
Yes.
property here. So we got in contact with a few agents and properties that we were interested in, and yeah, we've seen several in the week that we've been here. Yeah, we are looking to buy a place locally, and yeah, we've been working with agents for that.
Excellent. So normally people recommend that you stay in a place for a while before you buy, but you've been to Italy so many times and you have narrowed down where you want to be. So that is fantastic. I'm wondering, I have friends and we're helping some folks deal with a local realtor who is a distant cousin of Croce's.
Of course.
But how did you find the communication when you reached out, when you found a property that you liked and wanted to view it? How was the communication? Did you speak in English? Did you use Google Translate and send the information in Italian, or what did you do?
So
Yeah.
Google Translate is our friend.
Okay.
We basically write.
Depend on it.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, we pretty much we basically copy everything. So we usually send off requests via WhatsApp. They love WhatsApp here, and email, but email not so much. And every time they respond in WhatsApp, we copy it, paste it into Google Translate, see what the English says, then we write our response in English, translate to Italian, and copy and paste it back. So we know it's not like the most local or like, exact Italian, but they understand it. And it means that we can ask more specific questions than if we were just trying to, wing it in English. And then meeting them in person, most of them have some English skills, and between their English skills and Google Translate and us, miming and showing pictures, like we usually can get our points across pretty easily.
That is excellent. I think you guys are very smart for using the apps and using the different software and tools at your disposal, because you're going to get a much better response rate. That's excellent.
It does seem to be part of the culture here. They love to talk on the phone, and so they're like, what's your number? Let me call you. And we're like, yeah, we're not as good on the phone because you have to like translate in real time, and like writing is so much easier because you can take your time with your response. So
yes.
sometimes they call us, and it's a struggle when they want to call us, and we have to
Yeah,
Italian's not our first
our
language,
listening
so-
skills are decent, so we can understand them, but it's being able to phrase your response quickly enough that they don't think that they've lost you on the phone. What we've started doing is like we've pre-written out possible, like you can usually predict our
Un
conversation.
momento, and things
Or
like
even
that.
like possible responses, just like, okay, like, we're going to call someone about rent. Like, here's all the possible, like, how's the conversation going to flow, and possible responses. Then we translate that all out, and then we just
Excellent.
pick the sections. Like, okay, he's asking how many months now. Here's our section on how to say months. Like, he's asked, like, we want to know the price. Here we say this, and then we've got the numbers. And so we kind of have to prepare for phone calls. But-
Pre-scripted answers, but sometimes you have to ad-lib and just work it out.
That is excellent, and you guys are giving a primer as to how to deal with realtors when you're interested in moving to Sicily. I love it. You're so organized and prepared, and I'm going to use you as an example for going
give us
forward.
too
That's
much
a great
credit.
idea.
Well, I guess we'll start with the highlights of our trip so far. We actually arrived in Italy just over a month ago, and we spent a month driving around Sardinia, which is an island north of Sicily, and it was absolutely stunning. The beaches, even in February, were just beautiful, pristine. You could almost get in there on the warm days. It was very empty. The people were super friendly, and just the nature there just was mind-blowing. Like very different to Sicily, but definitely worth visiting as well.
Beautiful there, and for a West Australian to praise the beaches anywhere in the world is
High praise.
It takes a lot for that, so it really is a stunning place. But yeah, we came back to Sicily about a week ago. One of the highlights here was the thermes we went to, which are like some natural hot springs. So there's sort of like this creek running through a canyon with warm. It's, it smells a little bit like sulfur, but it's really a heavenly place. And
all natural.
Yeah, even in like there's still kind of chilly weather here in March. Like it's warm and just beautiful little pools that people have made there in the creek. It's a really nice experience.
Yeah, totally free. It was like 40-minute drive from Carini. Yeah, it was such a secret, like a little hidden gem that so many locals, like in the week we've been here, have mentioned it. We were like, if they're talking about it, we have to go visit. And it was stunning. But even just driving along the coast here, I mean, every corner has this incredible ocean view and these dramatic mountains, and it just takes our breath away still. Every time we're like, this is incredible. The colors, just like how vivid they are. And yeah, and you feel a sense of calm, like, just this huge expanse of like ocean and land in front of you. It's beautiful.
That's awesome for the highlights. Share one low light, maybe.
No?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's a low light or a highlight, because in the end it's a happy ending to this story. But I did have my first taste of Italian bureaucracy, which is a thing here. So in order to buy a property, which we're planning on doing, you need to register for what they call a codice fiscale, which is it's like a social security number or a tax file number, but it's basically your financial record with the government. So I attempted this without a translator or anything like that. Just first of all, walked into the office without an appointment. The guy yelled at me eventually for asking too many questions and not knowing the answers, and trying to explain to me like, you gotta go to this place, you gotta make an appointment, blah blah blah, which I sort of knew, but like you have to make it several days in advance, and I wanted to see if I could at least get the forms, and he did give me the forms, so it was useful. And then I went back yesterday. It was my online appointment, and struggled through the conversations and the paperwork and explaining my passport situation and everything, but in the end they did give me my code, so I'm now like officially on record here in Italy, and I can buy a house with that. So
Congratulations! Yay! Codice fiscale is done. That's
You have to say
big
though,
accomplishment.
like the biggest pain yesterday was you even trying to get a number to wait in the queue.
Sure.
yeah,
That's the irony of bureaucracy here. It wasn't the actual process, it was just trying to get in line.
everything about it was actually kind of a bit of a hassle. And,
Wow.
a difficult experience, but we got there in the end. They were patient enough with me, despite getting yelled at a couple of times. I think we all knew what the goal was, and we got there. So
And the great thing is that it's not just the people working there. What we found at every stage, because we are the epitome of bumbling foreigners, is that locals are more than happy to help you. Like a guy gave Ari his phone number after the first day in case Ari needed more help.
True.
To apply for this.
He said, call if you haven't figured this out, call me and I'll help you. And he spoke like just enough English that we could like have a conversation. So yeah, the people here have been helpful.
Yeah.
We have found that to be the case more often than not, and that's a blessing. Share your favorite food in Italy or Sicily.
First.
So difficult. I love everything. So I think the first thing that captured my heart about Sicily was the tomatoes. Like the fresh tomatoes you get at the markets, they're so delicious. Like you can just pop the cherry tomatoes straight away without any seasoning, and that was mind-blowing to me. Having, especially compared to American and Australian tomatoes. Oh my god, it sounds so basic, but I was just like, oh, this is why they can just have pasta and tomatoes.
They're so sweet.
Yeah,
Little cherry tomatoes, that's what we have at home.
Yeah.
You can just pop them like snacks.
So good.
Amazing.
And the olives, I love the olives.
He's a big fan. The Sicilian olives were half the reason why we came to Sicily. He sold them in the States in the supermarkets, and he's like, these olives are delicious. This place must be great.
I love it. I love the black cured olives. Anyway, go
sure.
ahead, Ari.
Yeah, it's very hard to narrow things down. I'm going to go with arancini, though. The kind of the rice balls that are stuffed with various things and fried. It's just like a good snack to have at any time. So I like that.
That's wonderful. Now, on this side of the island, they're round, and on the east side,
They're triangular.
Yes.
They got
Yeah.
that
They have a
point
little
to them,
point at the
like,
top.
like the
Yeah.
cone heads.
And it's like
Head.
different names, right? Arancine and Aracini or something.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Yeah.
But we love pasta. Like basically it's like pasta alla norma, like anything with pistachio in it. Like we basically haven't had a pasta dish that I haven't liked.
What's your time frame for buying?
Yeah, it depends on, finding the right property and how fast the transaction goes, but we're kind of looking as soon as possible.
Are you interested in renovating, or just you want something done?
We've had that debate because there are things that are pretty good and pretty ready to go, and then there's ones that definitely need work. There's no short supply
Pros
of
and
those.
cons of both.
So yeah, we do want a place that we can move into straight away because that'll be easier, just to have a place and be a little bit settled. But there is also some value of like renovating a place so that it's exactly the way you want it.
Yes.
And yeah, you like the purchase price on those is so low, it's crazy.
Yes.
So you could end up with something that's kind of better than the stuff that's already ready to go for probably less money. It's just going to take some more work and some more time and some probably a lot of patience.
You're not Italian citizens.
It's true, we're here legitimately.
We are. I am an Irish citizen due to heritage from my father. So I have an EU passport, so I'm allowed to reside here already, and that's why
Awesome.
it's just easy for me to get the codice fiscale. It's super convenient. It's amazing rights that they have here in Europe between the countries. So it's really easy for me. Joe's a bit of a different story.
So you can have the partner
Yes.
long stay visa.
So
right, to be
eventually
with them permanently.
I will be able to have that when he becomes a resident here. Right now I'm on this special visa that Australia has with Italy, which is called a working holiday visa.
Okay.
It's called what's it in Italian? Like vacanze lavori.
CC.
And it's only like 4 countries that have this relationship, I think, with Italy. But it gives me the luxury of having a year to stay in Italy and travel freely throughout the EU. So I had to apply for a permesso di soggiorno, which we did that in Sardinia, which was a whole other bureaucratic process, but I've applied for it, so now I have the right to stay here for a year.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
It's been such a delight.
We've put together a free download for you, and it's called Top 5 Mistakes People Make When Moving to Sicily. I really think you're going to enjoy it, so go ahead and click the link.